Hey there, this is the One Boom, and don't you get tired of those best gun in Black Ops 7 videos? Meta gun this, meta gun that. It gets kind of tiring, and everyone just tells you to use the best Dravik or the best M15, or they'll take some like underrated gun and really hype it up in the thumbnail to make it seem like they've, cured polio with it, and that's great, that's good for them. I will probably be making some videos like that in the future, but I thought that for early adopters and beginners and potentially brand new COD players, it'd be more fun and more interesting, and I've never seen anyone do it before. I'm just so titillated by myself. How can we make every gun meta? What if we could make every gun you use in this game feel better? What attachments are going to do that? What attachments should you prioritize unlocking or even permanently unlocking in this game? Well, a lot of the guns have unique attachments. A lot of the guns also have universal attachments, universal muzzles, rear grips, underbarrels, whatever. So in this video, we're going to talk about how you can make any gun that you want to use right now, regardless of whether or not it's meta, feel way more competitive and consistent. We're also going to talk briefly about perks towards the end of the video, because some of those will help you with gunfights and feeling a little bit more competitive just by themselves. So, moving on, going forward. So of course I had to first start with a muzzle attachment that I've already made an entire video on, and that video will be linked at the end of this video if you want more detail as to just how important this muzzle is. But long story short, this is the first shot recoil control, kick reset speed, vertical recoil control muzzle. There are absolutely no downsides, and it removes this game's random recoil, because this game does have random recoil when firing in long bursts or even short bursts, and this muzzle brake completely eliminates it. Again, the video linked at the end of this one is a full explanation of it that would make this video way too long to go into, but essentially, this removes random recoil. And it should be honestly permanently unlocked on most weapons, especially if you are struggling with accuracy on those weapons. The next attachment is a very simple one, but it needs some explanation. This is the damage range increasing barrel. You might think bullet velocity is better, or the barrel that combines both of them would be better, and those can be, but I believe that damage range is more useful more often, because if you're playing within the gun's effective range, bullet velocity on most of these 6v6 maps, if not all of these 6v6 maps, isn't really going to matter. Bullet velocity is more important in Warzone or in Skirmish, but it's not as important in 6v6, where you're likely never going to be fighting outside of your hit scan range. A lot of you guys don't know this. The game treats your gun as hit scan until it's outside of an effective range, and then the bullet becomes a projectile if the hit scan didn't hit anything by that point. So don't stress about bullet velocity, you should stress about whether or not you're doing your max damage out a little bit past your normal effective range. For instance, the M15's normal effective range is about 38 meters, whereas with this barrel, it's 52 meters. You are rarely going to be fighting past 52 meters. In fact, you're rarely going to be fighting at 52 meters if you're playing within this gun's effective range, but you can maintain a consistent time to kill by equipping a damage range barrel. And this is really, really good for assault rifles and SMGs, where we fight at so many different ranges with them. We want to push our SMGs that little bit farther, right? We want to push our ARs that little bit farther, take that guy off a head glitch a little bit farther away than maybe we should. Damage range barrel is going to make that feel more consistent. It's also going to lessen the amount of gunfights where you get one kill on one range, it feels really good, and then you go to take out somebody else a little bit farther away. They're like 2 meters outside of your range, and they take an extra bullet. And we want to limit that. And of course, the best way to limit that and reduce the amount of times that occurs is just to lengthen the range. So damage range barrel is going to be more helpful more often than any other barrel in this list. The next attachment, pretty simple one. You want to use extended mags over fast mags. I'm not just going to recommend extended mags, I'm specifically competing faster reloads to more capacity. And you got to think in terms of what's more practical, what's more useful, what's more competitive in pubs. And when it comes down to it, if you are playing properly, you should never really be stressing about your reload speed. In fact, if you're constantly stressed about your reload speed, that means your positioning frankly kind of sucks. You're in the wrong place, you're in the wrong spot, and you're constantly getting pushed or in a blender where you constantly are reloading. Yeah, that's not good. Relying on fast reloads or sleight of hand or fast hands or dual mags or whatever over the years, I think has made a lot of people feel comfortable being in bad positions, whereas if you want to go on streaks and you actually want to teach the enemy team a lesson, a larger mag is better than a faster mag. If you have 2 seconds to hide, you have 2.5 seconds to hide. See what I'm saying? Like, usually the fast mags don't reduce your reload quickness by all that much. And if you can duck for half a second, you can duck for a full second if you're positioned correctly and not putting yourself in an absolute blender all the time. If you're pushing up too far, if you're surrounded constantly, your positioning frankly sucks. It's something I'm working on in my gameplay, and it just comes down to also, would you rather be able to back off and do a quick reload, or just have the extra 10 rounds required to finish off another kill? The answer is that it's better to build your gun to get an extra kill or two than it is to build it to have to duck behind cover half a second less. This next tip is 2 attachments actually. We're going to talk about a rear grip that helps you with dive to fire, slide to fire, aim down sight, and jumping aim down sight speed, an attachment available on just about every single gun in the game. Its category is the mobile quick draw grip, and as you can see, this helps your slide to fire and dive to fire speed by 20%, which isn't really that big of a deal. But if we go over and also combine it with a muzzle, the mobility spread muzzle, this will then bring us up to a 36% benefit when it comes to slide to fire and dive to fire speeds. It also helps with hip fire spread, but really this is for those people that want to run like lightweight and dexterity and do a lot of slide, movement god stuff. You want to combine the mobility spread muzzle with the mobile quick draw grip. These are on almost every gun in the game, and if you combine them, you get a really hearty bonus to that like feeling of reactivity when you're playing. So that one counts for 2. This next attachment we're going to talk about is one that's been in Call of Duty for years. It was misunderstood greatly back in the day. The Call of Duty community swore up and down that it increased damage because of just how weird the stat charts were in those games, and it made it look like it did. But it's FMJ. And I'm not talking about FMJ for shooting down score streaks or trying to wallbang people. FMJ has a hidden function that's a little bit more heady and a little bit more big brain, and I want you to think about gunfights in this way. So, FMJ is really good at winning gunfights more consistently because of how often enemies pass in front of thin rails, fence posts, or they're starting to enter a doorway, you're tracking them, you get that little bit of aim assist rotation, and then you get one extra hit marker than you think you should and they escape. Likely what happens is you shoot the person through the door frame, or somebody's head glitching, and you could probably just shoot through the cover a little bit, but you aren't dealing really any damage, and so you get more hit markers than you think you should for shooting at somebody that you can really only see the head of. How did you get an extra hit marker? Well, you probably shot through the head glitch and hit them with a really low damage bullet. So let's not do that. If you're using a weapon for hectic engagements on maps like Nuketown or any of the other face-off maps, I highly recommend using FMJ, not so that you can wallbang or destroy streaks easier, so that if you catch somebody through a corner, if you shoot somebody through their head glitch, you're dealing proper damage, and you get a more consistent time to kill. Because we're trying to make every gun feel competitive, let's limit the amount of times the guns feel random. And then I thought, let's finish up this video with a brief little PSA. ARs and SMGs don't really get enough flinch to bother you inside of your effective range. So equipping the aim walking movement speed flinch stock, while isn't the worst idea in the world, it's not exactly something that's going to benefit you more than just running the aim walking movement speed stock, which will give you a considerably bigger boost to your aim walking movement speed. Aim walking movement speed is essential for controller players in my opinion, because we aim with our left sticks as well as our rights. It's how we activate our aim assist, and it's also how we do some fine adjustments. Your left and right stick should be working in a tandem dance. Left stick aiming is important, and if your character has cement in their boots every time they aim down sight, you're going to be an easy target for a faster player. Having good aim walking movement speed essentially gives you a whole different method of movement tech. It's a whole different tactic when approaching an enemy. And this game has 2 attachments that we can stack to get increased aim walking movement speed, the other one being the mobility hand stop. Aim walking movement speed, and hip fire movement speed are all increased, so it is just a net bonus to your mobility. It makes you feel lighter, it makes you feel better, and now, with all of that in mind, let us go ahead and actually showcase what this would look like on the DS20. First thing we have is the kick reset speed muzzle to get rid of all of that random recoil. The damage range barrel. On this gun, it bumps the range up to 28 meters, meaning that within 28 meters, we will be maintaining our ideal time to kill, which is, of course, ideal. Then we have that mobility hand stop we just talked about, which helps with aim walking movement speed, hip fire movement speed, just making us feel lighter, more agile. 40 round mags, because it's better to have ammo than to get ammo reloaded faster. Then we have the Viceroy grip, because dive to fire, slide to fire, aim down sight speed, jumping aim down sight speed, all good for mobility and allowing us to actually utilize movement in gunfights. Then we have the Red Will carry-on stock, I think is what it's called here. Yeah, the ADS movement stock. Aim down sight, walking movement speed is important, especially on controller. Please build your guns for it if you want to win more gunfights. Always be moving your feet, trust me. Then last, we have FMJ, which is just going to make our gunfights more consistent. I think I'm coming up with a term for it too, doorway gunfights. When you're shooting at somebody and they pass through a doorway and you get an extra hit marker because you shot them through the door frame as your aim assist sort of dragged. Yeah, let's eliminate that with FMJ and allowing us to get the most consistent time to kill while also giving us the most consistent mobility. And these attachments can be found on every gun. The muzzle brake, long barrel, mobility hand stop, 40 round extended mag, mobile quick draw grip, ADS movement stock, and FMJ ammo is available on just about every single gun in the game. So whether you're using an M15, an M8, the DS20, an LMG, anything, these attachments are gonna make your gun feel so much better, so much more consistent. Thank me later. But of course, I said I'd talk about perks, so let's talk about some perks. Gung Ho allows you to fire while sprinting and gives you improved movement speed while reloading or using equipment. So when you're reloading, you still maintain good movement speed, which is going to help you get in and out of gunfights better. So again, you really don't need anything like fast hands or a fast mag. Then the next thing I would say is Scavenger. Just making sure you always have ammo is a good thing. And then of course Dexterity, reduced weapon motion during jumps, wall jumps, slides, and dives, and you take less fall damage. This will allow you to actually incorporate your movement better because your sight will be steadier on the center of your screen even when you're pulling off weird jumps and wall flips and whatever and sliding around. This adds a level of consistency to your sight placement that's kind of essential for competitive play, and it will make every gun you use feel better. And then of course, 3 red perks gives you Enforcer, and after every kill you get a buff to your movement speed and health regen speed for a short time, which is a big way people are lighting up the kill feeds in your matches. If you see people getting quad feed after quad feed, they're not superhuman, they have Enforcer, so that they don't have a bunch of stacking damage from all these intense gunfights killing them. As they're killing, they're increasing their health regen speed. Couple that with some good aim and good positioning, which I'll talk about in a later video, and that's how people are lighting up the kill feed in your games. If you are struggling to win gunfights using these attachments that I showed, or using the Enforcer perk specialty, or just Gung Ho, Scavenger, and Dexterity in any order, in any way, it's gonna keep you in the fight longer, it's gonna keep you feeling more competitive and feeling more confident as time goes on. If you guys have any tips for people in my comments section, please leave them down there below. If I got anything wrong in this video, please feel free to share, and I will see you when I see you guys. Goodbye.
Sergeant on target. HADs ready for delivery. Grim requesting hunter-killer deployment.
Like at what point does the strict matchmaking like click in here for me, chat?
Leaving the AO.
Your HKDs have been destroyed. Kill confirmed. Enemies took out your HKDs.
You won't take all of them out. There you go. You have the gun for that range, bro.
Hostile sighted.